Yeah. Blackjack. Life is like a game of cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Yeah. Blackjack. To play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Hey, what up, guys? What up, guys? How you doing, guys? Hey, welcome back to Straight Game TV. I'm your host, platinum songwriter, artist, Delray Richardson, and I come to bring to you today something very important in regards to the late brother Tupac Shakur, someone who I'm blessed to call a friend in his life and an ally in his death. And like I said, once again, I come to talk about something that I've heard no one talk about in all of their exploratory videos in regards to the late great Tupac Shakur. And what that is I have the question that and I say this with all due respect, is why would Afeni Shakur have Tupac believe that his biological father was dead when she knew the truth? And the reason I say that, and you say, well, how do you know that she said that or told Tupac that? We have to look no further than one of Tupac's greatest songs, or should I say his greatest song of all time, his crossover hit, Dear Mama, in which Tupac said these words, and I quote, he said, no love for my daddy, 'cause the coward wasn't there. He passed away and I didn't cry 'cause my anger wouldn't let me feel for a stranger. They say I'm wrong and I'm heartless, but all along I was looking for a father and he was gone. Now, I don't know the conversation in detail that took place, but from Tupac's own words, as you can see, he believed that his father was dead. And in one instance, he believed that I guess he was told that the guy in the film All Eyes on Me, the guy Legs, was his father from that perspective, and I'll get into the reason why that is. But so Billy Garland, who is Tupac's biological father, actually filed a lawsuit upon Tupac's death. And most people might say, well, Afeni Shakur basically told Tupac that because she wanted to keep all of his money from his estate. And I would have to say factually that wouldn't be true, because when Tupac was alive, that's when Tupac wrote those lyrics in Dear Mama. So there was a belief that that was what that was when Tupac was alive, not just after his death. But the lawsuit that he filed was to get half of Tupac's estate after his death. The craziest part about it is that Tupac spoke on, like, when he actually found out that his father was alive. And the crazy part is, and I quote, Tupac mentioned it. He said basically, I thought my father was dead all my life. He said after I got shot, speaking about the situation in the studio in New York when he got shot in 1994, I believe. And he said, and I looked up and there was this nigga that looked just like me, and he was my father. That's when I found out. So Tupac found out basically that his father was still alive while he was in the hospital suffering from gunshot wounds. It's powerful, man. He said we still didn't take no blood tests, but the nigga looked just like me. And the other nigga's dead now, so I feel like I'm past the father stage. So basically what Tupac was saying was, the other guy that he believed that was his father, or that was told to him that was his father, was dead, but he had come to find out that Billy Garland was actually his father. And so from that perspective, it's powerful in the sense that when you think about all of the things that possibly could have happened in Tupac's life, I think monumentally, that's one of the most pivotal things, finding out that your real father is alive while you're in the hospital, basically fighting for your life at that particular time. And so the other thing was, like I said, it's speculation, but I'm going to alleviate the speculation for you at this particular point, as to what Afeni Shakur told her son, as whether if she did say it at all. You know what I mean? And so basically, there was a lawsuit that was filed in 1997, and Mr. Garland had figured that Afeni Shakur was trying to cut him out of Tupac's inheritance, and it was a rather contentious lawsuit filed by Tupac's father. He was seeking basically 50% of Tupac's estate, and Afeni Shakur, basically, she was angry about that, and basically called Mr. Garland, Tupac's father, a gold digger who ignored his son for 18 years. And Billy Garland, he basically shot back at her and said that it was because of Afeni Shakur's nomadic lifestyle for making it impossible to find Tupac. And we've seen situations like that in real life, as well as in movies, where, you know, one parent or another has custody of the child, and they move, and they don't inform the other parent basically of their whereabouts. So, you know, a lot of that is plausible. And basically, Afeni also said, she said that in Tupac's death, she said that I'm the only person who lost somebody, and basically saying to Mr. Garland, and she also said that he don't even know my son's birthday, basically saying that Mr. Garland didn't even know when Tupac's birthday was. And I find that ironic, based on the fact that the communication, it would have to say, well, there wasn't no communication. Did Tupac really know who his real father was? Or did Afeni actually know who Tupac's real father was? You know, from that perspective, and based on the information that I'm going to provide to you in a minute. And basically, they were talking through lawyers at one point in this time, and a lot of times the lawyer would speak on behalf of one party, and Mr. Garland's lawyer to Afeni's response about his birthday and that he was never around for Tupac's for 18 years of Tupac's life. He basically said that Afeni Shakur was an egomaniac, and she was upset with the publicity for Tupac's father after he had filed the case. She was upset that he had come forward and filed the case. And then they also mentioned Afeni Shakur's past addiction to drugs and alcohol problems, which I personally think didn't really matter. But then again, when you're dealing with family issues, those type of problems do come up, and they do take effect and take a toll, as they took a toll on Tupac. And he also spoke about that in Dear Mama. And so basically, you know, Mr. Garland, the first lawsuit that he had filed trying to get 50% of the estate, he basically lost that lawsuit. And when he lost that lawsuit, Afeni Shakur's lawyer basically said that Mr. Garland was a deadbeat dad who gave his son $500, a bag of peanuts over the course of his life, and a bag of peanuts over the course of his life. And it's crazy because, you know, you're speaking through lawyers and they're making these kind of accusations. And I guess he was getting this information from Afeni. And basically, they said that Mr. Garland was basically trying to rewrite history to vilify Afeni, you know, in her struggles with a drug addiction and so on and so forth. And basically they said Mr. Garland, Tupac's father, only filed the lawsuit after, listen to this now, this is powerful. They said Mr. Garland only filed the lawsuit after Mrs. Shakur twice submitted legal papers saying that Tupac's father was dead. I'm going to say that again. It says that Mr. Garland, his lawyer said, only filed the suit after Miss Shakur twice submitted legal papers. So they had documents saying that Tupac's father was dead, Garland said. And so basically, it is a fact that for whatever reason, we don't know the time span in which those legal documents were filed in regards to Tupac's or Afeni basically filing those documents, basically saying that Tupac's father was dead. But it is apparent, and one could suggest that she did that in order to keep Mr. Garland from filing any kind of claim, or anybody for that matter who would say that they were Tupac's father or whatever, but any kind of claim from claiming half of the estate. And like I said, and it was at that time before, you know, he didn't win the lawsuit. You know, it was a real struggle. But the sad part is, you know, to have to go through that. And like I said, once again, for Tupac to find out, you know, your real father, who your real father is, while you laid up in the hospital in New York after being shot 5 times is a powerful thing in itself. And it's a lot of us in the African American community who have similar situations, you know, and like I said, I personally can relate to this situation here. I personally can relate, and that's what made me want to really touch on this subject so heavy. Like I said, so basically, Mr. Garland, he's trying to get, you know, half of the estate, and like I said, basically the judge decided that that Mr. Garland's contributions to Tupac's life and his upbringing were minuscule. At the time, Mr. Garland, he was working as a trucker and he was living in New Jersey. Wanted half of Mr. Shakur's multi-million-dollar estate. But basically, Afeni said that he was absent for the majority of Tupac's upbringing. And after the case, basically, Afeni basically said that this is a big defeat for deadbeat dads after Mr. Garland had lost the case. And she was speaking through her lawyer with that. And who at the time, he was the co-administrator of Tupac's estate. And he said, and I quote, "Being the designated sperm isn't enough." And I'm going to say that again. Being the designated sperm isn't enough. And it basically, testimony in the case revealed that Garland had actually only seen Tupac for 15 of his 25 years. And the actual contributions to the young Tupac's welfare included $820, a bag of peanuts, and a ticket to the film Rollerball. Basically, that's what Afeni Shakur had said that Mr. Garland had contributed to Tupac's entire life up until his death. And so, yeah, it's kind of sad, like I said, but once again, I've heard nobody really speak on this, and this is a very important issue in our community as African Americans males. And I'll say it again, like I said, I can relate to this personally, you know what I mean? But to alleviate basically all of the doubt that would transpire as to whether Mr. Garland was even Tupac's father at all. And basically, it was according to testimony during the trial, the DNA tests showed that to a 99.97 certainty that Mr. Garland sired Tupac, that he was Tupac's father. And like I said, but basically Afeni and her attorney basically was saying that DNA alone does not make you a dad. And that is absolutely true. So I understand on both sides, like I said, once again, but Mr. Garland also was trying to, after Tupac was shot, he was also still trying to make have a relationship with his son. And that's proven in pictures from when he went to see him when he was locked up in Dannemora after that case in New York. And like I said, really trying to be there. And now that he claimed that he knew where his son was, because he basically saying that he didn't know what Tupac was. But we know that to be partially not true also, because Tupac was grown and Tupac was a celebrity at that particular time. So if you wanted to really reach out to Tupac prior to his death, you could have done so. I don't know how Tupac would have received that, but once again, he did reach out prior to his death and going to the hospital after that. And I don't know if it hit something for him personally, you know, because Tupac was, you know, he was a public figure. So like I said, in everybody in their own time, you know what I mean? We can't really judge on that. But like I said, once again, it was a rather contentious situation. And so I wanted to talk about that and see what you guys thought. Like I said, once again, leave your comments. Your boy Delray, Straight Game TV. And like I said, when you deal with the entire situation, what happened at the gist of it, at the end of it, basically what happened with the case is, like I said, Mr. Garland lost the first case, but at the end, the case was actually settled for around $540,000 plus legal fees, which totaled just over $350,000 for Mr. Garland. 4 days after Tupac's death, Mr. Garland, he had talked to Rolling Stone in an interview, and he basically said, my son is dead, and he doesn't deserve to be talked about like some common criminal, he said. And so, like I said, once again, personal situation, but dealing with a public figure, and like I said, so what do you guys think about that? Like I said, more importantly, chime in. Your boy Delray, Straight Game TV. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. And I'll continue to bring you facts. Nothing but facts. Straight Game.